Hi there. Welcome to Draw With Me. I'm Danny Gregory, and may the force be with you. Is that correct? No, that's something else. That's Star Trek. Anyway, fantastic drawings, you guys. Fantastic reinvention of the Star Wars universe without violating copyrights, because copyrights are galaxy-wide, as we know. So we invented our own robots and stuff last week for May the 4th. So good. Well, I'm glad to have all of you here. Arlene Immerman, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a little while. Hope you're doing well. Constanza in Germany, welcome for the first time. It's so nice to see you. And Jais, is that how you pronounce it? Jais from Seattle. Welcome, and congratulations for finishing your sketchbook. That's a great feeling, and it's fun to start the new one. Gina in Alaska, hello. And Sandy is wondering, what is an EDS? Well, you are going to be educated on this matter very soon. And of course, the immortal Robert Crumb, thank you for joining us too. Always nice to see you all. So thank you for being here today. Today is an exciting day. It is, well, it's Thursday, so it is Mini Friday, but it's nice to see so many of you. Wilma and Melissa and Karen and lots of you. Anyway, thank you for being here. Let's get on with it. So today I have an important-ish announcement, which is that we have a brand new sponsor for Draw With Me, which is Edding. Now, Edding is a company you may not be that familiar with because, unless you are in Europe, because they are a German pen and marker manufacturer. And I've been playing with their products a lot over the last couple of months since we first met them, and I'm really excited by it. Check it out. I have so much stuff from Edding that I'm really excited about, stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you over the months, years, decades to come. They make things like these are calligraphy markers, and these are just sort of fun basic markers that they make, almost like kids markers really. And then they also make these I've been having fun with. These are markers designed for porcelain, so you can draw like I've been drawing on my little palette here, my little cup. So you can do drawings, and then you throw it into the toaster oven and it bakes. Pretty cool. Let's see. There are these acrylic markers. These I'm super in love with, and I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with them. And there's like endless versions of them in different big fat sizes. We'll be playing with those and probably giving you some. These are textile pens, all different kinds of pens for drawing on fabric. These are some more of the porcelain brushes. And what else? These are metallic pens, and they are a form of brush pen, really. We'll be playing with those eventually. And here's more brush pens that are nice and juicy, and those are fun. And then these I also love. And I remember seeing these when I was on a trip in Europe. These are another form of fine liner that are come in multiple colors. They're just really nice to write with. And then today we're going to be working with these. These are Drawliners. Drawliners are black fine liners, essentially. So they're called Drawliners. They are fine liners. There's a bunch of things that I really like. I mean, over the years, I've used so many different kinds of fine liners, so many different kinds of pens. I've raved about some of them to you. I've complained about others. I'm a big fan of these, and it's not just because they're our sponsor. There's a lot of things I like about it. First of all, they don't smell. So if that kind of thing bothers you, these don't have a smell, or it's a neutral smell, they say. They are pigment ink, which means that they are waterproof and they're light fast. This is a really, really probably the make or break thing for me with fine liners is, can I paint over them? Can I watercolor over them? Or are they going to get mushy? These guys are rock solid, and I really like them. So, are they waterproof? Sandy Banks asks. Yes, they're waterproof. Pigment ink. That's what's great about pigment ink. Okay. And they're smudge proof. They dry really quickly. And these are some little things that seem minor, but when you use pens a lot, these are major things. Now, one of them you're looking at, which is when you look at the side of the pen in big letters, you don't need your glasses, you can tell what size they are. And they come from, I don't have a 005 here. Well, actually I do. Here's a 005, and they go 005, and then there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 2, I think a 0.25, which I don't have, a 3, a 0.35, I've never even heard of that before, a 0.45, a 0.5, a 0.7, a 0.8, and a 1 millimeter. So, and also, when you look at the top, when they're sitting in a jar like that, you go and you're trying to grab one, you can tell right away what size it is. And it's big letters, it's silver. So it seems like a minor thing, but trust me, if you draw a lot, these are the issues. You take for granted the pen might be pretty good, but if the packaging isn't good, if, for instance, when you take the cap off, it doesn't have a clip on it, then it'll roll away and you won't be able to find it. But if it has a clip, then the pen will stay there. It won't roll off your page. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. Your thing rolls off, and also that it sits on the back and it snaps in a satisfying way. I don't know if you can hear that, but it snaps in and it stays there. So again, that's something that I really like. They only come in black, but that's fine. That's all I want is black. And I showed you those other ones that come in lots of different colors, but I like black to draw with. So so I'm a big fan of these, and we'll be using them today. You may have seen I've been using them and sneaking them in Draw with me over the last couple of weeks, probably because they're my favorites right now. So that's really cool. All right. Yes, pen nerd alert. It's true, but honestly, this is our tools. This is what we use every day. How can we not? It's nerdy. I'll admit it. It's nerdy, and I love talking to people who are also pen nerds about pens because there's nothing else that that's good. So that's good. They are just coming to the United States. So that is why they're unfamiliar. They're coming out. I think that they are in a lot of retail stores. I know that that's what they're pushing to do, is to get them into your store. I'm sure you can buy them online. They have a really good website that is very clear. So this is a company. I'm almost done talking about Edding, but I just want to say one more thing about it because I am excited about it. This is a company that started in like 1960, early 60s. And German, and they developed markers for industrial use. So like markers that you would use to write on rubber. Why would you want to write on rubber? Well, say you're a car manufacturer and you want to mark things on tires, or you want to mark things on like the surround of a car window. These kinds of rubber, and they have made ones for dark rubber and for light rubber. And then they started making ones for metal, and they made ones for all kinds of different interesting medical applications. And so all the stuff, which is like very kind of niche, but is really interesting when you think about pens. A pen that has a very particular function has to work in a really particular way. Pens that can work under incredible high temperatures, pens that obviously that are waterproof, pens that will last for a long time. All these kinds of things they're important. And when, as an artist, you get them, you go, okay, that's great. Like, I know what I'm dealing with. I know what this pen is used for. And a lot of times we don't know. You use a pen and go, this wore off, or this faded. Well, that's because it wasn't designed for that. And we don't always know. The packaging sometimes is clear, but there's also a lot of hyperbole on it. So it's good to know. All right. That was my spiel. It's not even a spiel, honestly. It is, to me, it's information. It's interesting. All right. So speaking of Edding, they are going to be giving away a set of these fine liners, or these Drawliners, 1880. 1880 is the number. And that's another thing about them. It's like, and their pens all have these kind of scientific numbering systems. So we're going to be giving away a set of these. If you would like to be considered to get them, write to us. You can either email us at info@sketchbookschool.com and send us your U.S. mailing address. Please remember to do that. If you don't send us a U.S. mailing address, we can't send them to you. So let us know. Or you can write to our post office box, but we're always eager to hear from you. And so, yes, those are the 1880s that I'll be using, you'll be getting, or somebody will be getting. Not everybody. So what are we going to draw today? Well, here's what I was thinking. Because it's Edding, just to welcome them, to make them feel at home, we're going to draw Eds. What are Eds? Well, here's an Ed. Ed Sheeran. I have a whole bunch of Eds. At first I was like, what famous Eds are there? We ended up coming up with a whole bunch of Eds. So there will be lots of Eds. So on your page, we're going to draw these fairly quickly. We'll draw them fairly quickly. I'm probably going to change up my pen nibs sizes a bit as we go. But we're going to draw them fairly quickly, and don't worry too much about likeness, you know? I mean, so of course you hopefully know Ed Sheeran. You know that he is the round-faced darling of the song world these days. He's a big international superstar now. But yeah, so let's try and crack out an Ed Sheeran for the fans. And he's a ginger. Not everybody likes gingers. But that's okay. He probably can't help it. Doesn't seem to get in his way too much. Still seems to be a bit of a sex symbol. And yeah. So I'm just drawing Ed in breathtaking realism. Breathtaking. And getting into, you know, it's nice to use a nice, fresh, sharp fine liner, I find, you know, because it's nice and juicy and black and reliable, right? There's nothing like using an unreliable fine liner where it's like starts to skip and conk out. You want it to be, you know, to show up. Like Ed Sheeran. Can anybody name any Ed Sheeran songs? I can't. I've heard them, and I know that they are definitely popular, but you know, I'm a Miles Davis guy. So, and Miles is not an Ed. But so we're going to draw a variety of Eds, and you're welcome to do them in whatever fashion you. It looks a little outraged here, but maybe he feels like I'm casting aspersions on him somehow. But he has a kind of a cute round face. Oh, I forgot to give him his mustache. It's so light I almost didn't see it. First I thought, he looks a little bit Amish, but no, he's not. All right. Are they smoother than microns? I find them smoother. You know, it has a similar kind of a tip to a micron, but maybe it can come down to like the slightest thing, like how long is that fiber stuff that sticks out of the end. But I don't know. I like the packaging better, I think, than a Pigma micron. In other words, like the issues I was saying before about, you know, how clear they are and what the size of the clip is and those kinds of things. So, all right. Well, there's my somewhat outraged Ed Sheeran, but I'm going to label him Sheeran. I think that's correct. All right, let's do another Ed. You ready? Ready for another Ed? Here we go. Edward Scissorhands. Edward Scissorhands. Played by Johnny Depp, of course. How are we going to approach him? He has these bee-stung lips. And, of course, a crazy hair. I think I'm going to have to switch to a different thing for his hair. Maybe go fat. And then, of course, these very black rimmed eyes with, what do they call it? Guy liner. Not sure that he's a guy liner kind of guy, but and of course the hands. I'm gonna have to draw my own version of these hands, which are so lethal. I love that he had always had lots of like little cuts everywhere from having just this horrible disfigurement. I think it was. I haven't watched that movie in forever, but it was a really great one. Tim Burton is a genius in some ways. He has great sketchbooks, by the way, if you've ever seen them. You know, he started out working in Disney, and he's always done a lot of drawing. Looks kind of like he has a big mustache, so that's unfortunate. But that's okay also. So but he looks like a drawing in a way, like that hair. This sort of thing of this black kind of thicket, black shape with lines and tendrils coming out of it. Looks like a India ink painting. Is a very Tim Burton thing, but you'll see it so often in different things like trees and buildings and landscapes will have this effect of that. So yeah, so this will be scissor hands. Scissor hands. All right. I'm sorry I gave you that mustache. It's kind of troubling me to the point that I might need to white it out. Come back and fix that later. Let's do another Ed. You ready for another Ed? Who's this, you say? Well, that is the original Ed, the OG Ed, Edward the First, King of England. Edward the First. I know you're probably tired of drawing Edward the First. I'm sure you've drawn him many times, and you're like, oh, not him again. I could draw him with my eyes closed. Well, feel free to draw him with your eyes closed if you like. What do we know about Edward the First? Is he Edward the Great? Is there an Edward the Great? Catherine the Great. Not up in my royal history. Are there any historians in the audience? Can tell us a bit about Big Ed? Yes.
Your drawing's kind of off the page.
Whoops. Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, Edward the First. There's Edward the Sixth. There's Prince Edward, who we probably won't speak of on this program. And he looks a little bit like he posed for a deck of cards. I don't know if that's the case. Do you think kings went in and posed for a deck of cards? They're like, you know what? Screw having that big painting hanging in the lobby where nobody will see it. I want to be a club. I don't know. Maybe. That's what I would want to do if I was a king. I always remember one time watching this one of the very few documentaries that was made where they actually had filmed the royal family just kind of hanging out. And they were all at Ascot, the horse race. And of course, the Queen was very, very much of a horsewoman, horse enthusiast. And they had had a little pool of, among the royal family, of like they're just betting on their horses that they liked. And the Queen won. I don't know if they'll let her win, but she won. And so she was kind of picking up her earnings. And it just struck me as, wow, she's holding all this money and it has her face on it printed on the money. How weird. What a weird life. I think I'm glad that I'm not in the royal family. But anyway, there's Ed. There's Ed. Okay. Let's see what we got next. He abdicated from the throne. No, that was a different Edward. This is the original Edward. Yeah. Let's see. This is another kind of Ed, Edith Piaf, or Edith Piaf. Edith Piaf. Oh, I forgot to say, he's just the first. So Edith Piaf, La Vie en Rose. Non, je ne regrette rien. I might regret doing this drawing. We'll see. She has these eyebrows. That's sort of a hallmark. It's very thin, drawn on eyebrows. And the sort of sparse eyelashes, too. Very straight nose. And rather lush lips. Give her some little eyelashes down there, too. And then her hairstyle is sort of classic of the era, 1940s-ish. That was really her prime, right? Before she passed away under whatever circumstance. I think she was one of those tragic figures. Rather wide face, much wider than I made it. I'm not sure about this drawing. I don't know if I would know that it was Edith Piaf if she walked up to me in the dark, but I know that it's Edith Piaf. And you know how I'll know even better? I'm going to write the word Piaf underneath it in a minute. That's a key thing when you're doing portraiture. Write down the name. If you write it down, the people are like, who's that? You say, well, it says right there. Piaf. Who do you think it was? She's Piaf-ish, Piaf adjacent, waifish. All right, let's do another Ed. Are you ready? Are you ready? Edie Sedgwick. And an Ed of a different kind. Edie. Here we go. So this calls for a big fat pen, right? No question. The bigger, the fatter. And this one is the 0.1. I want the 1. Do I have a 1? I don't know if I do. I think my heaviest might be the 8. So, okay, so let's go 8. So for her, it's definitely this sort of 60s Liza Minnelli kind of thing. That's definitely Edie Sedgwick. Another tragic figure, I guess. She died young, so that's tragic. Very heavy eyebrows as well. And kind of a small, cutish nose. Again, with the luscious lips, although even more luscious probably than I did them. And kind of biggish ears, or at least prominent ears. And then this sort of blonde waif hair, kind of dark roots, that look, whatever that's called. Kind of thin neck, large head. All right, I'll buy it. What does Ed's mean? Angela Gutierrez. Eds, we're drawing people named Ed. Or Edie. Or Edith. But Eds. So these are all people named Ed. Let's have a look at another one. Mr. Ed Wolber. You all remember Mr. Ed, I'm sure. The one and only talking horse. And I picked this scene with him wearing glasses. I can't remember why that was. But yeah, he wore glasses at some point. So that makes, to me, that makes him recognizably Mr. Ed. That plus the whole business with the gums, you know? Like when he would talk and you'd see those gums. I don't know what they were doing to that poor horse. Probably like putting peanut butter on in his bit or something. But yeah, there's Mr. Ed. Sort of smiling. And this business with the bridle. And then the big old eyeballs. And then let's take a big fat pen. This is an 8. And draw the big old eyeglasses. There you go. I'm not saying that all my drawings are great, but I am saying that this one is. What do you think? He has to have that, what do they call it? A blaze. The blaze, the white mark that runs down his face. That's also. All right. Ed. So this, how would I shorten him? I'll just call him Mr. Mr. All right. Who have we got next? Ed Harris. Ed Harris, who is a fantastic actor and who played Jackson Pollock. Do you remember that? He played Jackson Pollock in the movie of the same name. He's also a bald guy, and he doesn't care if you know it. You know, I've spent so many years wearing this toupee that I forget sometimes that you can just be bold and proud. I'm not comfortable with that yet. Still going to disguise it a little bit, but he's proud. He's out there with his, and then his nose. His nose is interesting. He has these very, very blue eyes. Very blue. Kind of a thin face. Sort of, what are those creases called? And I've made his skull a little misshapen, but I just want to draw attention to the fact that he's bald. Not sure why, it doesn't seem quite fair, but yeah, he's gotten very wrinkly of late. This picture is actually kind of a few years ago, but you saw him in what's in most recently. Maybe I think of him as being in Westworld. So there he is, Harris. Let's draw some more Eds. All right, so this is Eddie Izzard. Eddie is, Eddie Izzard, or now Eddie is a she. I think she has a new-ish name. So she's now, I think, like Sally Eddie Izzard. Something like that. I think it's Sally. So, great eyes too. But she is hilarious. Cake or death? And let's see down here. Kind of slightly thinner lips. Sort of a prominent chin there. And the hair. And an earring. Sort of matronly earring. Do I draw the hands? No. I don't feel like drawing those hands. I don't feel like it. You can. By all means. All right, and then this nose is a little bit like that. Izzard. Okay. Yes. Anybody know who this is? One of my favorites. One of my favorites. Edward Hopper. Susie, yes. Susie, isn't that what I said? Did I say Susie? I thought I said Susie. Susie Izzard is now Susie, yeah. Known as Susie, but also still known as Eddie Izzard. Or I think that Susie is sort of an an additional first name, something like that. Yeah, Edward Hopper. A lot of bald Eddies here. I guess there's a lot of bald people in general. Bald men primarily. Um, Edward Hopper. Lived in my neighborhood when I lived in New York, when he lived in New York, and then neither of us do anymore, but for different reasons. He's an easier person to draw because nobody knows what he looks like. So if you do a drawing and they say, "Wait, who's that?" You go, "It's obviously Edward Hopper." Oh, right. He looks like he should have had a mustache. Maybe he did at some point. He had that sort of style of haircut. Top sort of longer, sides are longer, and then it gets sort of shorter down below. Mine is much younger, a younger version of Edward Hopper when he was more of an Eddie back in the day. So a lot of times when I'm doing these drawings, I feel like I'm just like looking at a photograph of a person and then drawing a person, but there isn't necessarily a huge correlation between the two events, between looking and drawing. It can be. Okay, so who's this? He's another artist. He is Edward. Edward. Hint? Edward. What else? You know him. You know him. He looks a bit insane in this picture, but I don't think he was at all. I think he was quite orderly. Manet. Show me the Manet. Kind of a pointy sort of nose, a bit pointy and kind of flat here, but also coming down there pointy. Thickish eyelids, lower lids. Big prominent forehead and widow's peak. Nice hair though. And a very nice beard. A real soup strainer. Sort of probably a look that he cultivated in what, 70s, you think? So 70s kind of thing. 1870s, of course. Nice beard. Very nice beard. A little unkempt. But he's a French painter. You don't want him having something too sort of manicured, manscaped. All right, that's the basic idea. Go on endlessly drawing this beard, but I eyes are important to get a bit more correct. But there you go. Manet. All right. Let's get on with the Eds. What do you think? Eddie Van Halen playing a very small guitar. Isn't it small? It looks very small. Unless he's very, very large. I mean, he's certainly big in the guitar world, but I want to think of some other way of drawing him. It's just a lot of hair. I guess that's a good way of demonstrating fine liners is by drawing lots and lots of hair. Sort of the perfect hair tool. I'm going to make him a bit more cartoony. What do you think? I think that's better. What do you call this kind of hairstyle? It's obviously not a mullet. Is it a shag? Maybe? Shag. It's very Eddie Van Halen, though, I think, this look. Sort of know that it was him based on his hair. All right, so that's Van Halen. All right, let's get some more Eddies in going. Okay, here's another Ed. One of JJ's favorite Eds. Edith Wharton. Age of Innocence. House of Mirth. Rather thin-lipped woman. Large eyes, somewhat unkempt eyebrows. This Edwardian hairstyle. That hat. Hat almost looks like just a bunch of ribbons piled on a piece of cardboard. I guess it's not cardboard. I guess it's it is straw, like woven straw. I drew it too close to the top of the page, unfortunately, so not able to really get this hat in all its glory. But I am going to draw her collar. Seems like part of her look. That lace collar. That jacket, those big lapels. All right, Horton. You're good to go. We've already drawn you. He's come back for seconds. Sorry, Ed. All right, so this is not the external Edvard Munch, but maybe it's the internal. So therefore we can draw him. And, might be the most famous Norwegian man of all, known for basically this image. There's Elgar too, who's also an isn't El, no Elgar's English. What am I talking about? But he's Elgar is actually isn't he an Edward too? No, I don't know why I'm talking about Elgar. Why is he screaming? All these Eds, get me away from here. Monk. Or Munch, as they like to say. Edvard Grieg, yes. I was right then. No, Elgar, right? I was confusing Elgar with Edvard Grieg. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, Edvard Grieg. I knew that there was a Norwegian. All right. So, who do we have left? We're on our last one. Ah, yes. Did anybody come up with this one? I see there are a few I didn't get. I didn't get all of them. But I thought some of them might be too hard to draw. Whoa. Eddie, don't disappear on me now, dude. The Munsters never really made much of a comeback. You know, there's all these sort of reboots of just about everything, but not the Munsters. Why is that? Ah, and you know who's in the Munsters? Besides Eddie? Ed Gwynn. Right? Isn't it Ed Gwynn? Yeah, Ed Gwynn played Herman. I once actually did a commercial with him. He was just doing the voiceover. He had a great voice. Oh, remember his laugh? He had a great voice. And he was doing a voiceover for me. And one thing I remember about him is in the booth when he was recording, in between takes, he would sit there and he would go. He would just do that over and over again. And at first I was like, how is he making that sound? What is that sound? And then I realized, oh, that's what he's doing. He's making that kind of weird popping sound. And that's what I always associate with Herman Munster, is that noise. Now you will too. Look at Butch Patrick's teeth. He was in desperate need of orthodonture. I wonder if that was a big discussion. Like, we can't have a werewolf with braces. He had a lot of eyelashes. It's kind of cute for a monster. And those very prominent ears. I think those are. They augmented his ears. I think he had work done on those ears. So Hollywood. So yeah. So this is Munster. You know what? I had no idea that I would do this many of them, and probably I should have done fewer. Might have done them a bit differently. But yeah, let's have a look at all these Eddies. Lots of Eds. I have to write that down somewhere, right? So that some future historian coming upon this page is going to say, "Wait, what are these old drawings of?" Eds, because we were Edding today. We're Edding. Eds. Many Eds. You know what they say? 2 Eds are better than 1. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 eds. You know? Got the juices flowing. What do you think? Looking forward to see a lot of chatting going on. Did you guys not draw eds? They were fun. It was fun. Yeah. So this is part of your continuing ed. It's a continuing ed program. Adult ed education. There's a lot of puns in here. A lot of puns to be had. Now I need to caffeinate. Jennifer Moore, artist, thank you for joining us. I certainly look forward to seeing what you did. Good. Corey was busy drawing eds. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And yeah. Jean McKay, Phil, yes. You know, this is the kind of thing that we like to do a lot here, which is just do a bunch of drawings. I don't know if you saw, made a video. Maybe I should. I'm acting like I'm going to put a link up there. Maybe I will. I remember. But I made a video this week called No More Bad Drawings. And I kind of analyzed, like, what is a bad drawing? Like, what are sort of things that people do that you end up looking and going, like, that was bad. So, but kind of the conclusion that I came to, among other things, but probably my biggest conclusion was the way to make good drawings, make a lot of bad drawings. And just crank through lots of bad drawings. Draw Eds, draw Bobs, draw Marys, draw Pluto, I don't know, draw whatever you want to. Draw lots of stuff. The more you do, the more you draw bad stuff, the better you're going to get at it. Yes. What else? Yes, as JJ says, if you like this, please give the show a thumbs up. It means a huge amount to us. It means a certain amount. It means that more people will see this. More people see this, more people will draw. The world will be better. Your giving a thumbs up to the show might, in fact, transform the world. Might. We'll see. Yeah. So thank you for doing that. What else? Major upgrades is just like in guitar. If you hit a wrong note, say it's just jazz. I guess I'll accept that because you said it, but I'm a big jazz person. Doesn't think that jazz is just a bunch of mistakes. Is that what you're saying? Anyway, yes, as Nancy says, I am subscribe ed. Good. Let's move on. Let's conclude. Let's conclude this way. First of all, let me get rid of that. Would you like some Edding markers? Some Drawliners? Write to us at info@sketchbooksoul.com. It helps if you tell us why you want them. Besides that they're free and that they're cool. Tell us what you think sounds interesting about them. Write to us, send us your U.S. mailing address. Don't forget that mailing address or else you're in trouble. Hashtag SBS Draw with me. Put your eds on Instagram or on Facebook and put hashtag SBS Draw with me. And that way, at the beginning of this next show, we'll have all the eds. Just like today, we had all the Star Wars stuff. The Art for All podcast on a hiatus. Probably doesn't need to be there anymore. Getting rid of it. And what else? Danny'sEssays.com. I write an essay. I have a special guest essayist this week, I'm excited to say. And we'll be sending out that essay tomorrow. So sign up for it, Danny'sEssays.com. It's free. I talk about stuff, like creative stuff. Drawing problems, inspiration, all kinds of interesting things. I promise you, you will love it. And if you don't love it, I'll give you your money back. All right. You've subscribed to the channel. You've given us a thumbs up. You've taken a photograph of your eds and started to post it on Facebook or Instagram or in the schoolyard. Do we have to post it or can we email it? Post. You have to post it, yes. If you email it to me, what am I supposed to do with it? That sounds rude. No, post it. Post it. Share it with other people. Share your art, even if it sucks. Because you know what? Most people seeing it couldn't have made even sucky art. So share it. It's been fun. Sandy, thank you for being here. Angela, thank you. Everybody. Yes. All right. JJ's nice. She says you can email your drawing to us. If you can't be bothered to post it, email it to us at info@sketchbookskool.com and you will make it in there. I'm just being a bit of a hard ass. It's all this Ed energy. It's filled me with I don't know, a desire to have you post and share your work with the world. But you can send it to me and just share it with me. All right, guys. Have a great time for the rest of the week. I'll see you again on Monday when I do read my essay, or next Thursday when we meet again. Have a great day, and arrivederci.